Welcome to the Contractor Sales Academy podcast. We got a good one for you here today. We're Steve and Derek are here with me, and I'm sitting in person next to my good buddy Bubba Hogan, who's one of our first degree black belt now, second degree. What the hell is it?
First degree.
First degree black belt in the art of the Shin Fu. He's kicking ass, taking names, and so we thought since we're in person here together doing some coaching, he would be our guest this week. So, Derek, Steve, how you guys doing?
I'm doing great.
I'm excited about this podcast because Bubba and we started kind of our businesses relatively around the same time. Same industry.
Yeah. Same industry, around the same time. And he's not too far down the road from you.
It's over the hill and through the woods.
There you go. So
Tom,
Memphis, Tennessee.
what do you do?
Deputy sheriff full-time and landscaper pond builder, trying to make it where I can retire and do that full-time. I've got a full-time business going with guys, but I just run it on the side.
You've had a full-time business since what, 98?
Since 1998.
1998. Damn. None of my kids were even born then. So
Bubba, you run since 1998. You that's when you started the pond gig?
No, pond was 2002, March of 2002.
Okay, so basically for 18 years, you've been running two businesses. I mean, your regular job and a pond business.
Yes.
So what do you, right off the bat, this is not our topic, but my first question is, what do you tell these guys that always constantly say, who only have one job, their business, who say, I just don't have enough time?
Well, you make time for what you want to make time for, and you put your priorities, in my opinion.
So this is our topic today because probably one of the number one reasons we get for why you don't join somewhere or somebody to help you get better as a business person or even as a person, they all say, I don't have time for that. And this topic today is about investing in yourself. And I'd like to set it up in the following manner, if y'all would indulge me. Think about the things you invest in, crazy expensive things. And three things come to my mind. You have a house, which is normally hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the truth is, when you invest in a house, you look at a house, you like the house, you buy the house, and before you know it, somebody's asking you 1,000 questions, and then they shove a stack of paper in front of you that's about 6 inches tall, and you sign every one of them, not even knowing what the hell you're actually signing. That's 99.9% of the people, okay, who do that. Number two is a car or a dually truck for our audience, you know.
Big mirrors, right? You got to have the big, huge automatic mirrors that go out. You got that? Do you have that in your Dodge?
No.
Okay.
I did on my Ford 350 dually.
Well, there you go.
I had a big dually. It had the big mirrors and the fenders that would get hung on everything, ripped off, and cost you $1,000 to replace, or you look like an idiot riding around town. One of the two.
And so you drive most people spend somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 grand. I know if you buy a decked out dually, you're probably 80 grand today, right?
Oh, it was 45,000 back in '99 when I bought it.
Okay, that's whatever, gazillion years ago. And then a third big investment might be, for some of us, college. That's $250,000 or a couple $100,000. In fact, I don't even know how many millions of kids get out of college. They owe over $100,000.
Yeah.
So, and that doesn't include all the other toys: a bobcat, a trailer, a boat, a backyard kitchen. You know, all the things you got to do to keep up with the Joneses.
All right, hold on. Speaking of spending money on stuff, Derek, in the last 20 years, how much money do you think you spent on beer?
I don't even know how to do the math on that one.
I mean, seriously, Steve, you're talking about the house and all this big stuff. I'm sitting here going, God, you add up what I spent just on buying beers for the guys and eating out and like that over the years. Oh, Steve's got a calculator, so he's doing some math now. Uh-oh.
Well, that's a man, that's a big number. Big
No.
number.
If you drink a 6-pack a week, every single week for 20 years, and you spend $14, which I do on a 6-pack, because I like the heavy IPAs, that's almost 15,000 bucks I have spent on beer that makes you stupid and fat.
Not to mention your Anejo tequilas and shit like that you drink when we go out. So
Yeah.
Then the bourbons. Now we're talking
Bourbons
some
and
nice
all that.
bourbons.
You know, those had that bar tab there at Nash Vegas last year around 10 grand. So.
Hell yeah.
So, you know, and I don't think I'm wrong. I bet I've spent in the last 20 years $500,000 on alcohol, whether I consume it or others consume it. $500,000. Think about that.
That's real. That's real.
So today's topic is, if we're so eager to spend these big dollars and invest in these areas of our life, of which almost none of them help us out as a business person or human being, why are we so reluctant to shell out $70 an hour to hire a fitness coach or a diet coach? Or, I mean, you would never think of representing yourself in a court of law. You hire a lawyer because he knows what he's doing there. But yet, when it comes to shelling out money, which appears to be big at first, like our group is $300 a week to join a bunch of people. I mean, Bubba, what does your shirt say right now?
300 a month, not a week.
300 a month. Yep.
What did I say?
You said a
Hashtag
week.
FW.
Bubba's shirt says hashtag FW.
Yeah, and that means you're a winner, man. If you could join a group with 150 winners, I mean, people striving to get better, make more money, save more time, and have a better life. $300 a month. They go, oh my God, there's no way. But yet they turn right around. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not going to do anything for them as a person. So why is that? And the reason,
Yeah.
hang on, because I got Bubba right in front of me, man. Bubba, tell us about your quick story. You first were introduced to Tom and myself. You saw us early on, you know, and your apprehension to jump in, and now you've jumped in with both feet. How does that work in your brain?
Well, I mean, I was hesitant. I met Tom at Aquascape at a little, one of our, I don't know if it was pandemonium or a little side event Greg had, and he went into the business coaching thing, and a lot of it was over my head, and I didn't really understand it. So, but then I saw you on stage a few different times, and I always, you know, my thing, I always thought you're an ass anyway, and just arrogant and everything, never paid much attention. I always liked Derek, you know, he was always down to earth, and he was kind of one of us. Then I got to watching Derek's videos all the time, posting, you know, how he was doing this, how things were turning, and it started piquing my interest, and started looking into the contractor fight and doing things. And then the old $1 a month kind of enticed or teased me to $1 to join. I was like, what would it hurt to put $1 in there? So I ended up joining up.
Yeah. What happened when you first joined up? Because you didn't really do shit, did you?
No, I didn't do a thing. I joined for $1, and that's what I got out of it.
Yeah, we had a special a couple years ago. Get into the CSA for $1 for your first month or whatever. That's what it was, right?
Yeah.
And you came in, and you're like, it's $1. I ain't gonna miss it. So I think the connection there is because you didn't have any skin in the game, really, right? Maybe you just didn't apply yourself.
I didn't do anything.
And then you left.
Stayed for about 6 months.
Then you
and said
came
it
back.
wasn't doing any good.
And then you came back. So what's the difference between Bubba before and then Bubba now that's a first degree black belt in the program?
When Bubba got back in it and started paying the money and taking it seriously and getting involved and started doing the role plays and getting involved with everything, like I said, just doing role plays and being active in it, you get out of it what you put in it. And I've gotten a lot more out of it here in the last 1.5 to 2 years that businesses seem to have exploded. And that's why I've contacted Tom about getting some personal coaching this week.
So I think I have the reason why because you just proved it right. We will all pay a lawyer to go represent us, but yet we ain't going to pay someone money to make us skinny, work us out in the gym, or be a physical therapist, or get us right in the business realm, a business coach. Because when you pay the lawyer, he's going to do all the work. You just sit there and shut up and do nothing. That's your best tactic. But when you join all these other groups, a fitness trainer or a business coach, you got to do the goddamn work. It's not like you just joined this group and you're magically a business person. You got to come in and do the work. And out of your own mouth, Bubba came, I joined the first time and did Zippo, got Zippo, and left. Came back, did the work. And now you're a second-degree black belt. And just so people understand what that really means, on the scale from 1 to 10, if 10 is you are a true sales assassin, like one of the best salesmen on this planet, you're like a 7. That's where you're at. Am I wrong with that, Derek? Is that about right?
No, it is. I think that's very accurate because, like we always say, you rise to your highest level of training, no matter what that is. And when you train and train and train and role play and role play and role play, and you do, so that's what, 300 role plays?
Yeah, I believe I'm, I don't know if it's 280 or, yeah, I think 280. I'm right at 300 now. Getting close.
So when you do something over and over and over with like-minded individuals, all trying to go to the same place you are, what you're going to find out is when you're on the phone, you just default to what you've learned, and it just happens and it comes out. And just before we jumped on this podcast, I had a customer call. It was literally within 8 minutes, I was able to discern what she was saying and get it so that she could send me pictures so I could understand her space and talk about timeline. And we didn't even get to the money part. We just talked about timeline because she has to sell her house. It's been on the market for 90 days. They just had to pull it off because she's backed up to an interstate. She has too much noise, and that's why nobody's buying the house. The realtor said, you need to have a water feature put in to buffer this sound. We were talking, and I'm picking up, and I'm seeing where she's at because she said, hey, I need you to come by today. You know, hopefully we can get something done next week. And I said, hey, I'm booked till November. Like, should we even continue this conversation? And the reason I say that is because I've role played with so many of you guys in this group that like, that's where I need to go. Let me use that word track. Let me protect her time and my time, because why go out and see her? Why have this long-winded conversation when if she needs it done next week, I can't do it anyway. Like I can't, it doesn't matter. Now, what's interesting, I said, you know, my guys are working 410s right now. So they have a Friday open. And I know a couple of my guys wouldn't mind some overtime. And she said, to get this done, I'm willing to pay overtime. Then I said, so I don't know what this is going to cost yet. I need you to send me those pictures. Let's go over it. But if I tell you I can get it done quicker and I have to charge you more just to make it happen, she said, I need to sell my home.
Yep.
I would have never said that years ago. Wouldn't even have thought of it. But because hanging out with you guys, doing these role plays, and we share these types of things. And Steve, you mentioned stuff like that before. You know, hey, if I got to bump somebody in the schedule, somebody's going to have to pay some money. So why not ask that person? Do you want me to upset a lot of people when I need to charge you extra to upset a lot of people? Is that crazy? So it's just, you don't learn this shit unless you practice it, unless you're just hang out with those people in your company that know all these things.
So, Derek, I want to nitpick one little thing you said, because it's something no one would say. When you stopped and you told that woman, she said, I got to get this done now because I got to sell my house. And you said, hold the phone. I'm busy till November. What you're really doing is risking your relationship with that potential customer. And none of us have the courage to ever say anything that we actually believe will risk that relationship. I won't say lie, cheat, and steal, but we will omit saying a whole lot of stuff or not ask the hard questions or make the hard statements because we're afraid that we'll lose them. But you're not afraid to lose them. And Bubba,
No.
You're after up to 300 role plays. You're not afraid to say those types of things to the customer either, are you?
No, I find a lot of it just rolls off my tongue while I'm talking. Like I was telling Tom earlier, we were talking at breakfast, and it's like doing role plays. I find myself sometimes talking to a customer and forget I'm talking to a customer and not doing a role play. Yeah. First time I said $500, and the old, are you sitting down for this? And I really want you sitting down because I've been role playing it all week and laughing. And I was even laughing when I was saying it and forgot it was a customer. And after she said it, she was like, "You're serious, aren't you?" I was like, "Yes, ma'am, I am." And she was like, "Well, come on out."
So you had to charge a $500 consultation fee, is what it was?
No, she didn't pay the consultation. She paid the
I know, but you told her.
Yeah, I told her it was going to be
$500 if we
$500.
don't, yeah, if we don't move ahead, right?
And
Yeah,
I'd been about 150, but I'd been playing around with role play all week saying 500, and it was almost an accident. As soon as I said it, it was like I wanted to try to pull it back, and she was like, "When can you come on?" So she wasn't interested in that. She was wanting the contract, but.
So how has your life changed from role play number one? Because a role play is one of the most uncomfortable things you'll ever do at first. So from role play number one and role play number 300, how much has Bubba Hogan changed?
Oh, 360 degrees. I mean, it's all the way around. It's no longer the same. I was nervous and didn't like doing it. But yeah, I mean, now it's still a little bit nerve wracking at times, but it's a lot more comfortable now.
And what is it feeling when you have a lead before you learn a process? Because most of us have no process. People call us up, we get back to them when we feel like it. We have whatever conversation meanders wherever it goes. Now you actually have a game plan and a process for each and every person that calls you. What does that do to your psyche? Like going into the call versus the way you used to go into the call 2 years ago.
Oh man, I go in with confidence now. I'm pretty confident they either were going to be my customers or they're not my customer, and I can eliminate that now. If there's a potential they're my customer, I don't have any problem at all giving it to them. Now that Tom's showed me where I wasn't getting my 50%, I'm even more confident now.
So let me ask you an honest question, because this is something that a lot of contractors suffer from, which is weird. We go into business, really, and the first step in business is to get our phone to ring. And then we get all these leads stacked up, and we're actually afraid to call them back, or we don't want to call them back, or we look at them like they're a pain in the ass. Did you ever have that thought in your head that, oh God, these pesky customers are bothering me?
Oh yeah.
It's funny you say that, Steve, because I even now, still to this day, as much as I run my mouth, struggle sometimes calling customers. But what the confidence that I have is I just know if I just call them and I just introduce myself and say, how can I help? Every other piece is going to fall into place. Like I'll get in my head, I'll get a voicemail, or I'll read the email that they sent. It's like this information, and I start getting in my head, already starting to try to problem solve it and prepare. And I go, you know what? No, don't mind read. If I schedule the call, or if I'm going to call them in, I just say, hey, this is Derek with JVI Secret Gardens. Is this a bad time to talk? Everything's good. How can I help? And it just works. Where before, I would truly avoid phone calls because I was so nervous that I didn't have a clue to what to say. Like that was the first thing. It's like, I don't even know what to do. I don't know what to do at all. So, but now I just go, hey.
I always felt without a plan that I was just somebody's little bitch. Honestly, like that's what I would drag my feet calling people back because I'm like, I know I'm going to have to do something that's inconvenient here for myself. And it's going to fuck up my calendar, my weekend, or I'm going to be late for dinner, whatever it is, because I got to go play by their rules because I didn't have the tools to know. I didn't have the permission nor the tools to play by my own rules, you know? And I mean, dude, yesterday we spent 2 hours. He doesn't know I'm going to say this. And I won't go into much detail, but I'll just give him a flyby here. We spent 2 hours. Here Bubba is. He'd been role playing his ass off, first degree black belt, mentoring other people, kicking ass, making money. And he sat here in this room and he's like, I still have head trash where I think everybody just wants a bargain. I still have to fight through that head trash pretty much daily, right?
Yeah.
Like speak to that, because if with the way that you are now, where you've been practicing, where would that mentality be had you not been working on yourself and investing in yourself? Like what was that mentality about everyone wants a bargain, all the head trash? What was it like before you actually started working on it?
Oh, it was, I'd give them a price or call them up, find out what they wanted, and then I'd negotiate myself the price down to where it was almost giving a pound away. I'd get done with some jobs and look at it and it's like, I spent more money on materials after I paid the guys. I'd be lucky to have any money left over.
So one of the benefits of getting where you're at, Bubba, and you tell me if this is true or not, before we had this Shinfu process and we're going through our, whatever our pre-qualification looked like, and I know what Tom's talking about when he felt like someone's bitch, I always felt less than. I felt like they have the job, they have the money, I got to bend over, whichever way they tell me to bend over just to get this job. And now I don't have to do that any longer. And the cool part is when you still today, after 300 role plays, have head trash, I am able to look down upon like a third party at myself, not crumbling, but not being the best version of myself during this sales call. I can actually self-critique myself as we're going through this. It's like you say you still today have this head trash because Christ, we're all humans. It's all going to creep in, but we have the ability to self-coach ourselves and talk ourselves off of the ledge. Have you gotten to that point after 300 role plays where you can actually see yourself from a high above as a third party going through this conversation with your customer?
Yeah, I do. Now on a lot of the calls, I can step back and visualize and see myself being a totally different person when I'm talking to the customer. Just taking a couple of moments right before I make the call and go over the Shinfu, the 5-step process and making sure, and then going into the call. But always pretty much listening, opening your questions, asking them.
It's funny because when we all role play, whether it's live or any other way, we all know, and Bubba, you, I'm certain could pick this up. We know, okay, here's step 1. Oh, I could feel him leading into step 2. Oh, he jumped to step 4 right off the bat. And sit there and go, I wonder how he's going to back up to step 3. Like we can.
How's he going to get himself out of this one?
yeah. No, really. And like, we're watching going, oh, he skipped a step and he knows we've all watched each other do this and we do it to ourselves too. We are so zoned in on this 5-step process that we could just see shit happen, unfold before our very eyes to get to the end result.
Yeah.
So, Bubba, I have a question. You mentioned this 5 steps. If you guys are listening to this, we start with the motive. We got the money, the truth, the influencers, and the BS meter. Okay. Which one of those do you feel like you're the strongest at, and which one do you feel you still have issues with from time to time?
I think the BSer I've gotten to where, just because I've had so much fun with it here lately, that's the one I feel strongest at.
The BS meter?
Yeah, the BS meter
cool.
there toward the end, or the middle, once they pretty much get to the point where we ask where we go from here, or they ask me to come out, and I go into that.
Okay.
One of the weaker is probably still digging more into the motive. I tend to go a little shallow on that. Don't get as much into that as I should.
So this BS meter, we all have these BS meter that rotates in our head at all times. You got it whether you think you do or don't. You're just trying to figure out, is this person for real or not for real? How do you get triggered? And Derek, you can answer this also. How do you get triggered, or what do you do or say when you think someone's not being a prospect who's on the phone, they're talking big, but you just don't believe them? What do you do? What do you say? Bubba, it's on you. Derek just froze.
Oh, okay. Well, me.
No, I'll go. I thought Bubba needed to go first. I can tell if you're asking. Go ahead, Bubba.
Oh, no, I mean, when they sit there and give the big number, they're not fazed or shocked by the number. I tell them, well, where you want to go from here? And, generally they say, well, either, you need to come out or the process. And I was like, I'd love to do that. So I kind of use the old Derek's thing. What kind of paperwork do I need to bring with me? And they, sometimes they ask, what does that mean? And it's like either the consultation or the contract. If it's consultation, I charge for consultations though, just to let you know, but it sounds like you're ready to do the contract. And then I just kind of get quiet and give it a moment. And they, well, what's a consultation? I was like, or if they ask what we charge, and that's where I go into, well, are you sitting down? And they'll say either yes or no. And I was like, I really need you to be sitting down for this. And I tell them, I was like, because it's ridiculous. I was like, I can't even believe people would pay it myself, because I sure wouldn't. But, you know, I charge $500 to come out to a house. And then that's when they sit there, well, let me talk to my wife or, you know, husband or whoever. Or if they say, you know, okay. And I don't tell them I'm taking that off the price or anything else. I kind of feel like that's more of the BS meter. If they're wanting to know if I'm going to take that off the price of the job, if they want me to come out or not. But I mean, if they ask, sometimes I'll tell them yes, but I don't even bring that up as far as volunteering that information.
What's cool about this and how this process has changed, if you just do it as simple and verbatim, and you follow the process and you follow what we role play and you follow what we teach, it works. But as you evolve, and I mean, because we were talking the other day and just kind of looking at the amount of leads. I mean, I feel like I'm somewhere around 3,000 plus role plays, whether it's clients or within our group. And you reach this point of flow where you can go 5, 6, 7 different directions with the BS meter. And it can be very direct, or it can be because where they're going, maybe we talk about paperwork, maybe we talk about, are you sitting down? Maybe we go with those, or is it, you know, are you really going to hire me? You know, it's like, you just go to these places, and that's what's so important about this. It's the how comes from the repetition is really, really where it comes from. It's the time spent, because you see it, they post it up, you know, it's like they tee it up for you, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to fucking knock this one right out of the park. And they're either going to say yes or no. So it's, yeah, but you got to spend time on it. You got to spend time.
I just want to share one of your greatest all-time lines about a month ago, Derek. Tom, then wrap it up. When you asked a client on the phone, he goes, I got a question to ask you. And you said, I need your no bullshit price. Like, you threw that out there. And I'm like, what? How could you possibly say that to a customer? And he answered you, and he liked it. He liked it. He liked that question. He goes, whatever. I got $40 million. That's my no bullshit number.
Well, he jumped from 150 to 200. I mean, that's like, that's all I can spend is 200. But that comes from repetition and role play, and you start filling it out. You hear it at the bond and report, you know, you can say that stuff. Like, I'm not going to say, hey, this is Derek with JVI Secret Gardens. What's your no bullshit price? Can I help you? It's you start feeling it, you know, and it's just there. And well, okay, case in point. So I'm in Nashville. I'm not gonna say any names, but I just left a consult with it's an actor and a musician, and same thing. Like, it was getting to the point like they wasn't gonna give me the money, and I literally had to go. Who has the checkbook? That was my. And then he's like, oh, honey, go grab that. It's like, what are we fucking doing here? Like, we went through the thing. Like, somebody give me a check. Jesus.
You know, sometimes I know I'm supposed to be wrapping it up now, but I'm reminded of this sale I had many years ago where sometimes you just have to be the alpha. You know, you just have to take charge. You have to, you know, I know in the group, we get into personality profiles a little bit and things like that. And I had this guy once, it was a paint job in a penthouse. It was a one room for 30 grand. And it was a Friday, and it needed to be completed by the next Friday. And he's on the phone with me, and he's like, this is a lot of money. And I go, yeah, it is. He goes, didn't you hear me? I said, this is a lot of money. And I go, yeah, it is. He goes, aren't you going to answer me? I said, you didn't ask me a question. I said it just like that. And he goes, and he's like, well, it's 30 grand. And I go, his name was Scott. I go, Scott, let me tell you something. There's a deadline, and it's next Friday. If that's going to happen, we have to start on Monday, and it's Friday morning right now. And if I'm going to start this job on Monday, there's a lot of shit I have to pull out of my ass over the weekend. So are we doing the job or not? He goes, yeah, let's do it. So it's like, but that, I personally, I mean, Steve, I hate to bring this up because it was painful for you, but you had knee surgery or replacement recently. you want your surgeon to come in there like a Top Gun fighter pilot with some swagger and with some confidence. And I think that's what I've seen watching Bubba and all these other people and you guys grow, is you're going from that dude who doesn't know how to get into an airplane to becoming like this Top Gun pilot as far as like personal confidence goes. So when you get in these situations, you're ready to rock and roll. You're not desperate. You're not, you're selling like you're independently wealthy, like we've talked about. And you're taking control. And I want to encourage people listening, like a couple things here. Number one, Bubba's just about 300 role plays into this, and there's still he's working on, just like there's still you guys and we're all always going to another level. There's always gonna be something to work on. So for those of you that are listening, and you're gonna wrap this up, Bubba, by the way, you're gonna give a bit of advice here, so I'll plant that seed for you. I want to encourage you guys. Bubba's done, coming on 300 role plays. How many of you listening to this have done 300 role plays in your life as a business owner, as a salesperson? Yeah, 3 people, right, Steve?
No. How many have even done 3?
Yeah. How many
In your
have
whole
done
life?
3? Yeah, most salespeople, do not do role play because it's uncomfortable. You feel goofy. So I just want to encourage whoever's listening, you're never going to arrive. Like, you'll reach certain levels of competency, but there's always going to be something to grow in. So the sooner you get started, the sooner you get involved and you start practicing, and we call it getting in the batting cages and taking your swings and stuff, you're going to grow and you're going to get better. So Bubba, as we get out of here, man, you got thousands of contractors listening to this thing. They got earbuds in, what do you tell the guy who might be on the fence about getting some help in the sales process?
Ask for help. I find that myself, I think some of it was maybe a little bit of pride, wanting to ask for help. Some of it's being scared that somebody's actually going to find out what's going on in your life. But definitely just, you got to ask for help and be willing to help yourself and get involved.
Love it. Ask for help. A lot of us don't do that, because we don't want to be exposed. And however, there's a lot of freedom when you're in a safe group, and you expose yourself and you can come clean and you go, here I am. Because now there's no progress without truth. Like, here's the truth. Here's where I'm at. Derek, Steve, how many people have we talked to? Do we know? Have we coached? Who from the outside had everything rocking in their world. And then we get to know them a little bit. And this isn't a rip on them. This is a compliment to them, that they come into our group, they open up, and that weight of the world is off their shoulders, because now they can feel like they're not being duplicitous anymore. You know what I mean? We've all seen those contractor groups, and I have this many trucks, and I have this many guys, and I have this, and they're check to check, week to week, because they just haven't figured out how to sell.
Most of us are a hot mess inside. And if you can hear us right now, you're a hot mess, because what you're doing is you're listening to some sort of self-help podcast in private. The next step to make true change is to start this self-help journey with other people who are willing to be open about their self-help journey. And we're all tied together, man. And I'll ask Bubba one simple question. Was this $300 a month you're shelling out every month for the bridge one of the best investments of your life or not?
Yeah, I hope it's been the best investment up till I hope this week. I hope this week turns out to be one of the better investments, but I'll find out. That remains to be seen, I guess.
No pressure, Tom.
None at all. There's no pressure, because Bubba has an execution list of shit he has to go implement now. Because, like you said, I'm not the lawyer doing the work for him now.
Good point.
He's got to do the burpees.
There you go.
Bubba, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
That's
Bubba.
Thanks, Bubba.
Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. All right, everybody, been listening to this, give us a review. If you found any value here, head to contractorsalesacademy.com, click the button and jump into a kick-ass group of people. Just do it. Get in here, make some damn money, and get your life back. Okay. Have some respect for yourself. Quit stealing from your family, blah, blah, blah. All the shit I'm supposed to say here at the end. Derek, Steve, thanks for making this happen today. You guys rock.
Thanks, guys. Later.
Later.